It's time for Did You Watch It?
How does this show work? We watch what we like, we talk about what we watched, and maybe you'll like what you hear. I'm Liz.
I'm Isabel. Last night we watched episode 7 of The Bachelorette, season 10. The show aired on Monday, June 30th, 2014. Here's what we thought about it.
It's getting serious, and I love it.
True, although I'm getting even more fed up with Nick.
Oh my god. Don't even get me started. He was all over this episode. There were a couple of points where I just wanted to grab Andi and shake her.
She's certainly a little more starstruck, I think, in this episode than she's been before.
Right, but I don't know. And here's the thing. In seasons past, what they've done is they always lead you to believe that it's one person because they're showing all of this stuff. And then you get to the finale and it's somebody completely different. So I don't know if this is the real deal, but if it is, I am so not happy.
Oh, you think she might choose Nick?
I am hoping not, but I think it's pretty evident from everything that we're seeing. He's got the most controversy. It's kind of like Jake and Vienna all over again, right?
Well, that was a hot mess. It tends to be that the guys don't always choose the best partners for themselves.
Well, so you're saying you think the girls do a better job?
Well, granted...
Is that what you're saying?
Well, the women tended to choose more wisely, I guess I should say.
Huh. It's not by a huge percentage.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to the editing, and it kills me. I mean, this whole season, they've shown her with just Nick and Josh.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of fallen by the wayside. Have you noticed that?
Chris is just such a dark horse, and I really like them together, but... Like I said in the beginning, I don't think she's going to end up with a farmer, quite frankly.
No, I don't think so either. Didn't he just say last night that he lives in the middle of nowhere, Iowa?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still hoping that maybe he'll decide to move to a bigger city. And Josh is still in there in my book, even though they're not showing a lot of stuff between them, a lot of conversation other than what you're seeing is the conflict. I still think he's got a really good chance. So,
and I think you and I have been saying this since the show started. The chemistry is there.
Oh, it's undeniable. Yeah.
You can just see it. I mean,
if we could bottle that and sell it, we'd be rich. Anyway, okay, so we have the first talk with Chris Harrison in the beginning.
Yes. Well, because they're in Brussels.
Right. And he's telling the guys it's serious. And you can see around the room, they get it.
I liked Chris, and I will always call him Farmer Chris, but he mentioned something about his family with, I forgot how many sisters and a mom.
Yeah.
And that they've kind of shaped who he is, and he really wants Andi to see that. And I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah. And it's so sincere. That's why I'm still rooting for Chris.
That's the thing. And then we've got Nick. I don't know. It just seems that whatever he tries to say, he's just stating the obvious, but trying to sound like profound. It's a constant struggle that we put a lot of thought into this, and we all take this very seriously. That's Nick.
Yeah, it's such a struggle because you're busy trying to be somebody you're not, Nick. Boo.
I still don't see what she sees in him.
Okay, so we get to the one-on-one date, the first one, and it's with your favorite person.
I want more. I need more.
But this date with Marcus was really good. I enjoyed getting to know him a little bit and seeing him really open up to her about his family. I just thought it was great.
He has abandonment issues because his dad left the family. And when he mentioned that, I thought this explains everything.
Right? That's where the insecurity comes from when you've got an upbringing like that. Holy cow.
It doesn't make it right, but it certainly explains it.
No, it totally explains it, and it gives me, I'm sorry, even more of a heart for Marcus.
Okay. He hasn't really brought me over to his camp, but I understand him a little bit more, but I'm still not a big fan. No es bueno. So as they start their date, right, they start talking, and of course he's going on about how he's been smiling ever since he met her.
Yes.
And blah, blah, blah. And then he mentioned something about journaling, or that he writes in a journal.
Yeah.
You know what my first thought when he said that? Why does that not surprise me?
And my first thought when he said that was, how cool. He's the kind of guy who's in touch with his feelings. You are irritated.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's
awesome. But the fact that he mentioned that his journals were all about her, and I thought, oh.
Well, of course they are, because Because he's totally falling in love with her.
I guess. I think when they were having some waffles, like, for dessert, Andi made some sort of comment like, you're such a good eater, and it just sounded so...
You're such a good eater? Did she really say that?
Yes, you're such a good eater, and I had to go back and listen to that again. Did she really say that?
Oh
and
my
it sounds like
gosh.
she was talking to a child, and that's what just threw me off. I thought, what?
Oh man, that's such a turnoff. Okay, so the second one-on-one was with Josh.
I liked it. I'll say it again. There's obvious chemistry between them. At the beginning, when Andi was going on about how she needs to know what he's feeling about her, and I'm thinking, well, hasn't he kind of told you how he's feeling?
Yeah, well, he has, but he hasn't been as direct as a lot of the other guys. And I think that's what she's talking about, because they've said they're falling in love with her. Marcus says he's in love with her, you know?
Oh, he flat out said it in the third week.
Yeah. So she's had these proclamations from at least 3 to 4 guys. The one guy that she's got this hot chemistry with, she wants to hear from him. And
part of me wonders what kind of questions she's been asking, because it almost seems as if it's the guy's fault that they're not saying anything. But then I wonder, well, it's not a one-way conversation here.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah. I mean, the date was fun. I loved the Belgian chocolate.
Yes, I would have wanted to go on that date.
Delicious. And the kiss in the hallway.
That was hot.
Be still my heart. It was kind of showing the shadows of them, and he was just leaning into her. And
yes.
I have a nickname for her kissing when she's not into it. It's the rocket kiss. It's just kind of like, mwah, mwah. It's like super fast and super forceful. And I'm just thinking to myself, what is that? If I was a guy receiving that kiss, dude, you're in the friend zone.
Marcus comes back from his one-on-one date. He sits down. All the guys start talking. And Nick is the only one who's not saying anything. And all of a sudden, he gets up and...
he just leaves. He didn't even sneak. I mean, he said, I have no interest in hearing what happened. And he said he's been persistent his whole life. And so I think he just went for it.
He did. So his little sneaky way of figuring out where she's staying, he went to the front desk, said he was her husband.
So easily lied to that girl.
I'm sure it was partly set up, too, by the producers,
I know, but it was so manipulative and, it just...
it was.
It gave me that snarky Nick feeling all over again that I just don't trust him.
No, I don't. They went for a walk, and as they start talking, then he's going on about how I want to marry you.
And when he said that he wants to marry her, did you see the smile on her face?
Yeah, that's what she wants to hear.
Izzy, how do we stop this? I need to stop it.
Okay, so as they're going on and they're making out against the tree or, whatever, leaning up against her.
They're gazing into each other's eyes, and he just looks totally insincere. I'm sorry. He just looks like he's trying to fool her.
Oh, absolutely. He's trying to pull the wool over her eyes, right?
Yes.
Well, I have to say that when she's going on about, in the moment, whatever they're called, and she says that passion is the word to describe their relationship, I'm thinking, well, then, if this is passion, what does she have with Josh?
If that's passion, I don't want any passion. I want whatever that is she has with Josh.
Exactly. And I had to laugh because she said something about when she kisses Nick, she can feel what he's thinking. And here I was thinking, yeah, that's what you feel against your leg. That's not the only thing he's thinking about, Andi. Let's jump back to the one-on-one with Josh.
So essentially, she's just telling him that she wants him to be open, and it's not happening. And I'm like, Josh, what is it gonna take? Spill it.
Well, I think it finally clicked in his head because obviously these are some big dates that are coming up next week. They're all going to hometowns.
It's hometown week next week, so there's no time to mess around. It's do or die, right? Profess now, or you're gonna be professing to the cameraman when you leave. Which you don't want to do.
Right. Well, he finally says something. He finally indicates that he's got feelings.
Yes, and he's falling in love with her, and the grin on her face was priceless. I thought the grin on her face when Nick said it was good, but the grin with Josh was amazing.
Yeah, no, she's beaming.
Yeah.
I will say, this is a point to Josh, that he doesn't throw around I love you very, he takes it very seriously, and he doesn't use that term lightly. So, hey, Marcus, want to take a lesson from Josh's book?
Okay, so let's get to the group date.
So you've got Nick. Of course, Nick.
Of course, Nick.
Dylan, Brian, and Chris.
Dylan, Brian, and Chris, that's right. And you could just see on their faces, right? Another group date.
Oh, they're all stressed.
Yeah, I get that. And then what do we hear? We hear Nick just going off, talking about how confident he is on a group date because he knows he's going to be with Andi. I mean, who does this guy think he is? I mean, who is that arrogant? Who is that full of themselves?
Yeah, it's been coming more and more every week.
It's just getting thicker and thicker, and I am rolling my eyes more and more.
Thank you. It all just seems very calculated on his end, but he's playing the game, basically.
He is, and when they were having the conversation on the couch, and I'm not sure when this was in the show, but I just remember the conversation when the guys really gave it to him.
Oh, that was after the group date.
They were saying, Nick, we see everything that you've been talking about. You've been talking about strategy, and what do you talk more about, strategy or Andi?
And it's all been strategy. Every week he's trying to figure out, okay, this is going to happen. I need to do this. I need to do that. Blah, 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 blah.
And to hear the guys recount that, man, that was eye-opening.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Well, because we haven't seen a lot of that in the clips. We've seen some of it. But I think when Chris kind of gave the rundown and said, this is what you say, this is what you say, and everybody else chimed in, Brian included, yeah, I was taken aback by that.
Well, here's the twist. Now that they're on the group date, apparently Andi tells them she has the rose, and once she gives the rose to whomever she gives the rose to, everyone else without a rose has to leave and go back to the hotel. Yeah, so it turns into another one-on-one.
You mean we have to go? So that rose had a lot on the line.
Well, they each had some time alone with her, which was good.
Yep.
Oh, and the other surprising thing is because they were at a monastery, right? There was no kissing allowed on the grounds.
Yes. And I loved what Chris said about just respecting that.
Well, he did get his kiss in because they went to a little pottery studio, so technically they were no longer on the grounds of the monastery.
Yes. So. And it's here that they have the little ghost moment.
The ghost what?
The ghost moment where they're both doing the pottery, holding each other's hands, and
I was half expecting Unchained Melody to start playing in the background.
And Whoopi to come in.
Yeah. Well, you know, all these little interactions at the group date, fine. And then all of a sudden she gives out the rose to Nick. I wasn't exactly surprised, but I was still not too happy about that.
Anyway, I was bummed. She gave it to Nick, so then Nick, all proud of himself, is toting the rose around.
His little smarmy face. Well, definitely the ones that are left to go home, basically, are not exactly pleased. I mean, they were cursing up a storm in the van. It was hilarious.
And I get it, right? They're leaving and they see her just really falling for this guy, hook, line, and sinker. And it's hard when you really care about somebody and you see that.
Yeah.
I was feeling for them big time.
All right, so something that kills me. Andi asks him, what kind of parent would you be? Then he said, well, if I have a son, I'll be more lenient with him. And if I have a girl, I'll be more strict with her. And I thought, oh my God, you're going to continue this double standard crap, which pissed me off, actually.
Well, the whole thing, he's just trying to give her, you know, an answer that she thinks is either funny or she thinks is endearing. I don't know. I just feel like everything he says, he's planning it out based on what she'll do in response.
Oh, of course. I mean, he just wants to stay in the game, basically, and go as far as possible.
Which stinks.
But yeah, just to see Josh and Marcus's face when the rest of the guys come home and Nick is still on his one-on-one time with Andi. They looked crushed like crap.
Right?
No.
They were crushed and shocked.
When Nick comes back after finishing his date with Andi, he comes back in the room. No one says anything to him.
Oh, talk about awkward silence. This was...
Yes, it was awesome. Yeah, awkward. And then the guys laid into Nick and drama.
I know, but I give the guys props for telling him, but telling him in a respectful way. Nobody was mean. Nobody was mean-spirited. They just said, hey, we just see right through you, and we're just going to call it out.
Did you notice that Nick never looked them in the eye?
Of course not. Because he's a weasel.
Well, you know what kills me? As everyone is trying to have their time with Andi, the ones who don't have the rose, doesn't Nick come in and interrupt Andi while she's talking to Brian or something?
Yes. I wanted Brian so bad to say, Nick, I'm so sorry, but you have a rose And I really just need this time with Andi. I was waiting for him to say that.
I was waiting for Andi to say something. I think that would be more badass because she's the one in charge. She can tell the guys, no, I'm here with so-and-so. You need to back off.
But it's Nick. He's the prince. Gag me. She didn't say anything because she obviously wanted to spend time with him. A lot of Andi's decisions are bugging me lately.
Well, I liked Chris's move at the rose ceremony. He says, oh, I have one more thing to tell you. And he kind of takes her outside so quickly and so serious, and she's getting a little nervous. Wait a minute, what's going on? And it was all just to give her a kiss, which I thought was absolutely adorable.
Of course. And that's the manly man that we love to see, right? Chris just taking charge.
Yes.
Ugh, loved it. Not as much as the Josh kiss in the doorway.
Oh,
but it was still pretty hot.
I need a fan to watch that.
Oh my gosh. I kind of wanted to pause, rewind a bunch of times. So the rose ceremony, and this was really tough, but we see that she doesn't end up picking Dylan, and she doesn't end up picking Brian.
I know.
And when they left, it was so sad. But when they showed Brian saying goodbye and they show her kind of doing the crying, I just don't think that was genuine.
Did you notice they used the same shot for both times that she's seen holding her eyes crying?
I know, because I don't think there were any tears. I wasn't buying it, and it just pissed me off.
They showed the same shot both times. So I'm thinking, okay, I think she was crying more for Brian because she really felt a connection with him.
Yes.
More than she did with Dylan.
Well, both of them, they're great guys, and I'm sorry, if it were at that point and I was letting those two go, it would be really hard.
Yeah.
And then when they were doing the interview afterwards, and, you could hear the guys laughing inside with Andi, and he just said, that's what I want to hear, everybody laughing.
Oh, you mean with Brian? I think, Andi was just trying to lighten the mood.
I know, but how heartbreaking.
But that's horrible that Brian had to hear the laughing.
Exactly, because he's going to think that's about him, or, how can you be laughing when I'm out here devastated, so.
Yeah, and the rest of the guys were sad to see the other guys leave, too, because, Nick obviously got the rose, and he's not going anywhere, which they're not too pleased with, so.
Yeah. So I liked what she said, even though she's bugging me. I liked what she said when she said, I've got some great guys left. And I'm sad on one hand to say goodbye, but I'm really glad to have all of you here, which is true.
Well, with the obvious poor choice of Nick, but...
Yeah. Sorry. Make that 3.
Hey, did you like that outtake with Brian's fear of pickles?
Oh my gosh. Okay, what is this? I have crazy fears, but yeah, a fear of pickles. And even pickle juice. I'm not so sure.
His fear was just over the top. It was like someone was coming after him with a spider or a roach or something.
Chasing him around, and he's like, "Dude, serious. I'm serious. Keep that away from me."
What was it that he said to Dylan? Do you have a pickle in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Next week proves to be an exciting episode.
I know. Well, it's hometown, so that's going to be great.
Well, they show Nick with his mom. I guess they're going to Milwaukee, right? Chris is going to Iowa.
Yes.
Josh is in Atlanta.
That's right. Josh is in Atlanta. Yeah.
Marcus is in Texas, I think. Dallas, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it'll be a full one next week, let me tell you.
Very true. And we're going to see Nick do some more crying, because he cried in last night's episode.
Yeah, but I didn't feel sorry for him. I just wanted to slap him. Not feeling it. Sorry.
Nah, I'm not feeling it either.
Yeah, and I really have no idea who she's going to send home. I can only hope that it's Nick.
I know Josh is sticking around for a little bit longer, so.
Thank goodness.
You're right. Oh, goodness. Okay.
We need a little Josh in our lives every Monday night. That's our time for today. You can follow us on Twitter at didthelletteru watch it. You can also find us at iTunes. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening.